Hello and welcome back to another episode of World in Flames Collector's Edition, Days of Decision 3 Combined Game Playthrough. Today we will be starting, hopefully even finishing, the November-December 1942 turn. Last turn there was a bunch of action on the Eastern Front, there was a bunch of action in the Atlantic. This turn, and actually the major powers, for the most part, with a couple of exceptions, didn't really spend themselves too much in the hole. So let's go and start the turn. Let's go take a look at starting money. Starting money for this turn looks something like this. We have Germany at 2, Japan at 1, Italy at 4, the Soviet Union at 1, the Commonwealth at -12, the United States at -13, China at 0, and Free France at -9. Okay, so let's take a look. I've already put in the bids for the major powers, so let's go over and take a look at how that's going to shake out. Okay, get the tracks in there. There we go. Alright, so we have the US bidding 3, we have Germany bidding 1, we have Japan bidding 1, the Commonwealth bidding 1, Italy bidding 1, the USSR bidding 1, and even China is bidding 1. So with the modifiers, we have the US bidding 3, they're in their 3rd place, so that's going to give them a +3, that comes out to be 6, that's going to put them in 1st. The Germans bidding 1, they have a +4 for their current 1st place position. That's going to give them 5, that'll put them in 2nd. The Japanese and the Commonwealth, the Japanese bid 1, they're in 2nd, that's going to give them a +3, that will be 4, that'll put them 3rd. The Commonwealth and Italy both bid 1. The Commonwealth is in 4th, Italy is in 5th. It gives both have a +2 for those positions. That gives them 3. That's a tie. However, the Commonwealth's political initiative is 7. It's much higher than the Italian political initiative of 3. So the Commonwealth will break that tie. They will be 4th. The Italians will be 5th. The USSR bid 1. They get a +1. That's 2. That'll leave them at 6. And China bid 1. They get a 0. That's 1, that'll put them in 7th. So the last card marker goes on the US, the last card marker goes on China, and the Free French will be 8th. Okay, first up is the United States. Let's go and take a look and see what they want to do. The US has decided to demand Vichy territory, and they're going to try to demand New Caledonia. It's a Vichy territory at the time. So how that works is it's a formula, and it's a ½ a point per sea area or territory away from the home territory of the Vichy controlling power. So I gotta move this. From New Caledonia, we got the Coral Sea 1, Timor Sea 2, East Indian 3, West Indian 4, Arabian 5, Red Sea 6, Eastern Mediterranean 7, Western Mediterranean 8, and Vichy France itself is 9. So that's going to be, looking at the formula, it's going to be a ½ a point per territory, so that's going to be 4.5, rounds to 5. -1, each initiative position you are lower than the controlling major powers. While the US is 1, Germany is the controlling major power, Germany is 2, so that's another -1, so that's going to be -6. Nope, we're not higher. +1 if you're in a different ideology, yep, so it's going to be -5. Nope, and not, yes, we're at war with a controlling major power, so it's going to be a +4. So what it is that you roll one die, oh, it's a -4 rather, You gain control of the territory by rolling 1 or less on a die. So roll a die. It's a -4. Okay, that's cock die roll. Okay, the U.S. rolled a 3. 3 minus 4 is -1. They succeed in gaining control of New Caledonia. So now New Caledonia, which is right here. That's New Caledonia. And New Hebrides, I think, is also not French. That I believe is, I think it's part of this territory. Yeah, I'm going to say it is. I'll look it up. I'm pretty sure it is. That is all Commonwealth, or was Commonwealth territory. So this New Caledonia is now part of U.S. territory. That includes Noimua and the one resource. So the U.S. has gained control of that. Okay, we don't roll to end the political phase because there's a +2 to the political die now. So we'll move on to Germany and see what Germany wants to do. Germany is going to go for influence. She's going to try to influence Brazil. Going to try to help out her Japanese partner. Try to keep Brazil from being allied to the U.S. So obviously that's what they want to go for. So it costs 9 minus the willpower of the minor country involved, which I believe Brazil is a 4. Look at that right there. Brazil, their willpower is a 4. So it's going to be $5, and it's roll a die. Probably ought to dig out the booklet. Jeez. Alright, so I'm going to roll a die, and this die roll is going to determine how much influence, or lack thereof, Brazil gets. Well, I think I've rolled an 8 every single time I've done this. So 8 for influence is going to, I believe, is a +3. Influence 8 is a +3. So I'll put a +3 in the Brazil, and I will be back shortly. Okay, got to step back just a second. The U.S. forgot to activate a miner for the Demand Vichy territory. What they're going to do is they ended up with a -1 in Brazil from that, and since they got ideas on Brazil, they're going to activate that and get rid of that -1. That's what I would do. And we're going to skip ahead to the German activator miner. And they're going to activate, I think they're going to activate Brazil as well. They want to drag Brazil away from the U.S. as much as possible. So they have 3 points. There's the 3 points. Brazil's right there. That's enough to move it 1 hex because it costs 2 per hex. There's no treaty, minor alliance between the U.S. and Brazil. So the extra 1 point is blown off. Again, we don't roll to see if we end the political phase because there's a +2 to the die, so it's no sense in actually rolling. So we'll move down to Japan. Now we have Japan. Alright. What are the Japanese going to do? Okay, we're at Japan's turn. Japan is going to build a factory. Believe it or not. It's a little factory symbol. We're going to build that. It costs $8 and it takes 4 turns. So I will go put that on the production display as soon as I pick it up off the floor. I don't know if Japan gets to activate. I think I've been doing that. So I will activate a miner in just a second. Okay, this is kind of funny. Japan's got to activate a minor. The only one that Japan can actually activate is Venezuela. So we'll grab the Venezuela markers. Now, where is Venezuela? Oh, that's right. It's way down there. Let's see what we got. Alright, we'll put them out over here. We got -5 for Japan. We got -6 for the U.S. And Venezuela don't like anybody. And -1 for Germany. So the -1 for the Germans will be just blown off. It's nothing. Now, let's see. Japan. Are we 11 hexes away? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So the Japanese points don't do anything. And I believe it's on map hexes that are counted. So you can't, even though the hex does wrap around. In other words, this is N. It wraps around to N over here. I don't think they actually count when it's talking about the 11 hexes. I don't think they count off map. I think it's all got to be on the hex grid. I think that's what I'm going to go with anyways. So the US is far, far and away longer than 11 hexes. So those -6 is just going to be blown off too. Alright, so now Japan has finished and she gets to roll to see if she ends the political step. Political phase. So this will be a roll of 1 will end the political phase. Bingo! Political phase is toast. Alright, I'm going to, wow, that just made a lot of countries mad. Like Commonwealth, Italy, Soviet Union, China, they're all pretty mad. But, well, that's the way it goes. Okay, so I'm going to roll, I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to roll the weather and show you the reinforcements. Frankly, I think the weather's going to be nothing but garbage, so I'm not anticipating a big turn. But we'll see. I'll be back in a second. Okay, the initiative roll came out. The Democrats rolled a 10, the Communists rolled a 2, and the Fascists rolled a 5. So even with the modifiers, the Democrats are going to win, followed by the Fascists, followed by the Communists. However, the Democrats decided they wanted to go first, and the reason behind that is that they want to get their ships out into the convoy lanes to protect the convoys. That left the Fascists and the Communists to decide who was going to go second and third, and the Fascists decided to force the Communists to go before them. So the order will be Democrat, Communists, Fascists. The weather roll was a 5, which became a 7 from last turn's modifier, which is snow in the Arctic, snow in the North Temperate, rain in the Mediterranean, clear in North Monsoon, rain in South Monsoon, and clear in South Temperate. The weather roll for next set of impulses is a +1, and the impulse marker will move up 2 per set of impulses, 2 per impulse. Now let's go take a look at reinforcements. Again, I have stripped them off the wheel to show you basically how many reinforcements each power is getting. There is the Communist reinforcements. There's the German reinforcements. The blue unit is a Ukrainian headquarters. There's the Chinese reinforcements. The ships up at the top here are all ships going into the construction pool. As you can see, the Americans have several. There's the American reinforcements, another battleship coming in, and a little tiny carrier, and Monterey Bay. There is the Commonwealth reinforcements. A factory is being fixed this turn. There's the Italian reinforcements, and there's the little bit of Japanese reinforcements. So I will get these on the board and come back with the first impulses that might have combat. I'm thinking it might be the Soviets. Back in a bit. Okay, the Democrats have gone. They basically did navals so they could get their fleets out to protect their convoy lines. Now we are over to the Communist impulse. Communist Chinese are not moving anything. The Russians, however, do have a potential attack right here at 5 to 1. They have more than 50% of the units are white print units, so they will not suffer the -2 odds column shift. However, the Soviets are ground striking here. The Germans 7-3. And I think the Germans are going to try and intercept. They're going to intercept with this. That's a fighter. So that's a Soviet fighter. That's a Soviet bomber. And they will try to give ground support for this, with this bomber. Alright, so we got an air battle. The Germans are defending, so they get to roll first. If I can find my other die. So it looks like even up. The Romanian fighter is equal to the Lend-Lease Air Cobra. Alright, so the Germans roll first on a 0 column. They roll a 9. Which is AC. Attacker clears through anyone defending bomber. So the Soviet bomber does get through for his ground strike. Now the Soviet fighter rolls. They roll a 15. Attacker abort. Attacker aborts defender's front fighter or front bomber. In this case, the Soviets will abort the front bomber. And that's it for the air battle. The Romanians will go home. Not wanting to... I think they're going to land here. Alright, so we have a ground strike by the Soviets. It's a 3, which is halved. Which is halved again, which is going to be a 1. A 4, no effect. That was worth a shot. Be nice to have a +1. That's a 5. I'm going to put them right here, I guess. There aren't any HQs in the vicinity. Nope. Neither are there for the Soviets. So we got basically a 5 to 1 straight up attack. And that's going to be on the assault table. See what the Russians roll. Puh. Yeah, off to a good start there, Russians. Rolled a 1 on the assault table for 2-1. So the defending German unit is dead. No cadre for him. However, the Soviets have to lose 2. 2 Soviet units have to die. And all the Soviet units are going to get flipped over. There's 1. That's an easy kill. It's a militia unit. And I guess the 6-4 is going to have to go. That's too bad. But those are both going to be cadres. And the Soviets will get to occupy the hex. They will occupy it with the 9-4. All the defending units, all the attacking units are flipped over. It wasn't actually a very good start to the Soviet offensive. It's not really a very good start at all. Well, that's that. Alright, that's the end of the Soviet impulse. We'll move on to the fascist impulse, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, I've finished the fascist impulse. The Japanese just shuffled a few units around here and there, reinforced down in the Burma area. Also have staged some units down in the South Pacific area. Not sure exactly what they might be planning down there. Can never tell with them. The Germans didn't actually attack anything. Attacking in the snow is really bad. It's a 2-column shift, so you have to have really high odds. They did, however, manage to plug that gap in the line. Their line is, however, looking a little thin in places right now, so it's not, doesn't look as bad for the Soviets as it seems. The Italians, they took a combined and moved a couple units. They also brought some reinforcements down to Africa. And I think that's about it. Oh, there is a potential for a sub-battle. I just have to roll the die to see what happens. Let's check it out. And the 6 and a 3 is going to be a big no. Okay. Well, we'll start the next set input. I got to roll weather. Let's roll weather. We'll roll the weather. We roll the 6, which is a +1 for a 7. I think that's the same as the last. Snow, snow, rain, fair, rain, fair. Snow, snow, rain, fair, rain, fair. It's the same as the last weather's turn. So I'm not anticipating a lot of activity. Probably the Soviets might get an attack in here or there, but that might be it. So I will do the next set of impulses and come back with any potential attacks that may occur. 5 to 1 +1. In the snow. Oh, jeez, this poor Soviets. They rolled a really bad 4. 4 on the Blitzkrieg table on 5 to 1. Well, it's not that bad. It's a breakthrough. And it's a asterisk. So half the units will, 4 actually is a 5. It's a star breakthrough. So all the units will remain face up. The German units are shattered, which means they're going to go on the production chart for next turn. Okay. And the Russians will get to occupy. I don't think they have enough units to actually blitz here. So I think we're just going to occupy. Oops. I mean, Zhukov's face down. It's not really a good idea to try and blitz with him. Yeah, we'll occupy with that, and we'll throw this guy in there. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah, he won't be able to attack that hex. Guderian's face down, so we don't have to worry about that. Alright, so that'll be the end of the Soviet turn, and I'll move on to the fascists. The Democrats have just finished their impulse. As you can see, the Americans have started to move units into the Southern Pacific. They have a fleet that's come down here as well. They've also begun moving units into Europe. Some units have arrived in Europe. When the Democrats finished up, we moved on to the Soviets. And the Soviets have an attack. They have a 5 to 1 potential attack right here, but first we have a massive air battle involved up here. I think the Soviets are trying to kill off Allied, not Allied, fascist air power, or at least exhaust it. Okay, well we have, for the Soviets, we have 5.9. For the Germans, we have 7, 8.2. So that's a difference of 2.3. 2.3, so it's going to be +2, -2. +2, -2. So the Germans roll first on the +2 column. They rolled a 11, which is always bad, on the +2 column, and 11 is defender clears through any one bomber. So the Soviets get a bomber through. That'll be this one. I'll move that die. It's a 5 to 1 attack. Okay. And now the Soviets roll on the -2 column. They rolled a 5, which is a really good die roll. And a 5 is attacker abort. Attacker aborts defender's front fighter or front bomber. They're going to abort the front bomber because they want this attack to go through. Alright, now the fastest will roll again on the +2. They can't win. They're rolling 11. That's defender clears through any one bomber. They're going to clear through this. I think they almost got their 5-1 guaranteed. Now the Soviets rolled. They rolled an 8 on the -2 column. An 8 is just a dash, so no effect. The fascists will roll, or the Germans. This time they roll a 14 on a +2. 14 is attacker abort. Attacker aborts own front fighter or front bomber. Take out the front fighter. It's gonna go to the +3 -3. Take out. They don't need the bomber. The fascists are gonna have anti-aircraft. I think I'm going to abort the front fighter. Okay, we'll abort the front fighter. Oh, it came from here. Alright, so now it's 5.4 to 8.2. That's the difference of +3 -3, rounded. That should have been the Germans. That's fine. Okay, on the +3 column, yeah, the Germans are rolling. They rolled a 9 on the +3 column. That's a box, a dash. The Soviets roll on the -3 column. They rolled a 9. And 9 is attacker clears. Attacker clears through one defending bomber or one defending bomber. Only one defending bomber. That doesn't matter. Now we'll roll again. Fascists. This time they rolled a 13. Defender abort. Defender aborts own front fighter. Front bomber. They're going to abort the front bomber. I mean, only so much we can do. And now they get one last roll. Roll a 10. I think that's a nothing. -3 column is defender clears through. It does nothing to clear. Okay, so both sides will now abort. Well, the Soviets will abort. Okay, 4 came from here. This guy came from, I think he came from here. And then the Germans need to abort all their fighters. Let's see, one of them, I think he came from here. Yeah. But that pretty much exhausts all the fighters for the Germans. So now we have anti-aircraft. We have 12 points. We get to roll twice. There's 2 bombers. I think it's just 12 points roll once. 12 points. 12 anti-aircraft because it's a 3-point unit. It fires 4 times. There are 2 enemy bombers. It's 3 dice. The lowest of 3 dice. So we roll 3 dice. Then the lowest number is a 4. And for anti-aircraft, that's going to do nothing. That's going to do nothing. It says abort 1 air to sea factor. Well, there's no air to sea factor. This is tactical factor, so that's going to do nothing. However, that does flip that unit over. And now we got a 5-to-1 attack here by the Russians. These two bombers are going to go someplace after. I think he was over here. Actually, I know where he was. He was up here. This guy, however, was in Stalingrad. There we go. 5-to-1. And there's more armor than the Germans have. The Germans have a mechanized corps. The Soviets have an armored HQ, Zhukov. And I think they will let's see. I think we have to use HQ benefits because there's Guderian. So they're going to cancel each other. HQ benefits. Guderian will use HQ benefits. And it's a 5-to-1 plus 1. 5-to-1 plus 1. Okay, the fascists finished their impulse. The Japanese landed on a couple of islands, landed on Guam, and landed on Wake Island, and took both of those. Rolled very high. Moved a few units here and there. And took a combined. Yep. And over here, the Germans actually retreated. It was a retreat. The Russians are putting pressure on them, and they felt the need to retreat a little bit. Remember, it's snow, and the Germans are affected by the 2-column shift when they're attacking, so it's not good for them, really, to attack anything. However, we do have us a little bit of a battle down here. We have a potential 4-to-1 on this hex. However, we have an air battle first. So the British are intercepting. They roll first. They have a 6-strength fighter. The Italians have a 6-strength fighter and a 5-strength fighter. So it's going to be +1, -1. So the British roll first. They roll a 10. A 10 on the +1. On the -1 column is Defender clears through any one bomber. So they're going to clear through this because that's their biggest bomber. Now the Italians roll in the +1 column. They roll an 11. That's always bad. Defender clears through. He does nothing to clear through. British player rolls. Rolls on the -1. He rolls a 14. That's a Defender abort. Defender aborts own front fighter or front bomber. Well, I think they have an extra. Defender's going to abort his own front fighter for now. Yep. But before that, he rolls. And they roll a 6 on the +1 column. 6 is a DX. Defender destroys own front fighter, front bomber. So the British fighter is destroyed. They get their pilot back. So I credited them with their pilot, and all this ground support goes through. So now we have a 4-to-1 with a +1. The Italians are going to use HQ support, which will give them a +2 unless the British don't have their headquarters. He's down here. Yeah, that's bad. Oh well. Okay, so the Italians have a +2 4-to-1 blitzkrieg table, +2. And they roll a 4 on the 4-to-1 chart. With a +2 becomes a 6. That's cross breakthrough. So half the Italian units will remain face up. There's a breakthrough, which means the British units are basically shattered and go to the reinforcement pile. All these Italian aircraft get to be flipped over, and half the Italian units get to be flipped over. But what that means is that now the Suez Canal is closed. We'll occupy with that one, and we'll occupy with this one, and this artillery, and the remaining units. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 units. Alright, he goes home. These guys, I don't remember where they were. Okay, I'll put him here. He's a strength, he's a 9. He goes all over the place. That there. Put that there. Put that there. There. It's Alexandria. Alright, so now the Suez Canal is officially closed because the Italians have taken a hex next to the Suez Canal. You are upside down. Get back over there. Alright? And these 2 units, they're shattered, so they will arrive back as reinforcements next turn. Now we'll roll to see if the impulse ends. A 9. We will move on to the next set of impulses. Okay, we're back to the Allied impulse, or the Democratic impulse. The weather roll was a 2, which is a 3, which is rain in the Arctic and fair weather everywhere else. We have finished moving everything for the democracies. The Americans shifted around a few units, basically restaging some air. Not doing a whole lot. I don't have a whole lot to move at this point. The British, or the Commonwealth rather, has an attack. They have a 2-to-1 attack down here on this hex right here, which is in a clear terrain hex. It's Cairo. And they're going to have a +1. 2-to-1 +1. Let's see what happens. Going all in, I guess. And it's going to be on the assault table. Let's see what happens. Rolled an 8. Oh, I'm sorry. Rolled a 7, which becomes an 8. And that's 1 loss for the... Okay, the glare is killing me. Oh, that's actually a 6. Alright, let's put that out there. That's a 6. A 6, which becomes a 7 on 2-to-1, is no losses for the Commonwealth and 1 loss for the Defender. They won't lose the hex, though. Wow. 1 loss for the, I guess the motorized unit will be killed. And he'll have to flip over. But all the Commonwealth units are also flipped over. He was the Wavell was the one that added HQ benefits. Did I add the +1? Let me see. Check this out again. It's 2 on. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. -1. So yep. Yes. Who knows? So the Italians lose a unit. He will be cadred because he's sitting right next to an Italian HQ, which is right here, I believe, right there. So that will be cadred. That's it for... Oh, we have an American sub-action, potentially. Let's see if they find anything. This is over in the Chilean coast. 2 for the fascists, 8 for the Americans. It's big. Nothing. I don't think there's anything else. Nope. Alright, we'll move on to the... Oh, let's roll to see if the impulse ends. Roll to 9. We keep going. We'll be moving on to the communists, and I'll come back with a review of them. Just finished up the communist impulse. They have no attacks. Basically, everything north of this little blue line here is rain, so nothing's going to happen up there with all the odds column shifts and extra movement costs for moving in hexes in that area. Down here, the Soviets just advanced up to where the Germans had retreated. Hopefully they actually have a pretty strong line right to about here. After that, it gets, well, a little shaky. So that's not too bad for them. They're not looking too bad in this area. The Communist Chinese, they didn't do anything. I think they moved 1 unit. And that was it. And, okay, we'll roll to see if the turn ends. 5, nope, needed a 3, so we will move on to the fascist impulse. We're back to the fascist impulse. The Germans took a land, the Italians took a naval, and the Japanese took a combined. The Italians sorted their subs. They're going to try and initiate a sub-action in the North Atlantic, which will include the Germans. The Germans have a couple of attacks on the Eastern Front. And the Japanese moved a bunch of units around. I think they're preparing to get something going in the South Pacific, perhaps. And in the last Democratic impulse, the American sub-action in the Chilean coast failed again. So we'll move on to, let's do the attacks. Yeah, let's get that. Let's do that. All right. So we got right here. We have a 6-1, and that's a ground strike, so that goes off first. Okay, 6-1, that's a 6 point. No, that's actually part of the ground assault. I'm sorry. That is not a ground strike. That is part of the ground support. So that's a 6-1. +1 because of armor. Rolled an 8. I think 6-1 on a blitzkrieg table on an 8 is pretty much dead. Yep. So this guy goes back. He can be right there. And he is gone. And that's a blitz result, so we can put, I have to be careful because, okay, we'll go, Rundstadt will go in there, and these two will go here, like that. Over here we have a 3-1, that is a ground strike. First the ground strike goes off, that's a 5. It fails. Alright. I can't go that far. Short range Stukas. They don't go too far. So the Soviets will add the Germans are going to add HQ support. So the Soviets will counter with their HQ support. Well, maybe not. Oh yeah, there he is. Rundstadt. Okay, so they kind of cancel each other out. So we have a 3-1 +1 blitzkrieg table. 3-1 plus 1 blitzkrieg table. Rolled a 3, which is a 4, which is 1 loss of a defender. So he is gone. Now that'll be card raid, but the guard banner armies are going to go back in the reserve pool. He cannot get rebuilt. But that is going to flip over all the German units, which is probably not good. But hopefully the turn ends pretty soon, because, well, this guy is safe right now. He's out of supply, though. Unless they put a unit here, which they could do. All right. And over here, we have a 3-1. And this also is a ground strike. So that's going to be a 3.5, because it's going to be a 1.5, because it's half due to the forest. So 1.5 rounds to 2. So ground strike of a 2, and I rolled a 3, and no good. You can go to Vorshilov. So we got a 3-1 here. Also going to be at a +1. Oh, that's not good. 3-1 on the assault table. I don't know if that can. Let's check out that forest. Either's choice. Okay, so it's going to be on the blitzkrieg table. So 3-1 on the blitzkrieg table. I rolled a 1. Add 1. The Germans lose 1 unit. No loss to the Russians. That really sucks. Actually, the attack was supposed to be here. Did that? I messed that up. It was still a 3-1. Doesn't matter. Yep. So the Germans have to lose a unit. This is going to be ouch. Pretty sure. Now this thing is really expensive. 6 points. I think I have to lose an infantry unit. The 8-4. And all the German units are flipped over because they failed in their attack. That's pretty much going to put the kibosh to any additional offensive activity by the Germans in southern Russia. They have so many units flipped over now. Took a chance, launched some attacks, and got really not good results. Not good results at all. Okay, so now we got the sub-action. Well, let's resolve that. This is in the North Atlantic. Okay, well, we're going to have something. We got a 1 for the fascists, for the Italian Germans, and a 7 for the for the democracies, which is going to be both British and American ships. I think there are American ships in here. No, it's all just British. All right, I'll figure out the numbers. Be back in a second. Okay, we got a bloodbath in the Atlantic, literally. So there's 18 ASW and 14 ships for the democracies, the Commonwealth in America. The fascists have 31 sub-factors and 13 subs. And there are 10 surprise points involved, so on the fascist side. So the fascists shifted the ASW column down 2, which will give 1 destroyed, 1 damaged, 1 aborted, and shifted the sub-attack factors up 3 columns, which will give us 4 sunk, 1 damaged, and 2 aborted. So first we'll do the subs. We got 1. The Commonwealth has to pick 1 to sink, or try to sink. So what they want to do is they want to pick something with a 10, because it's pretty much an automatic. I don't know if the Germans actually have anything here with a 10. Yes, they do. So they will sink that sub. He is sunk. I don't think he's going to get rebuilt. Type 2D, probably not. And then they get one to abort. They'll try to abort one of the Italian 8s. Or damaged, rather. This is the damage. The Italian 8 will be damaged. Roll a save. Italians roll a 10. So he's only aborted. So he's aborted. I'll flip him over to indicate that he's aborted. And then they get to abort one, and they'll try an Italian 8 to abort. The Italians roll an 8, so unfortunately he is indeed aborted. Those two guys are going to end up going back into Bordeaux, party with their German comrades. Now it's time for the fascists. They have 4 sunk. The Germans will pick first. They'll sink 3 tanker points. Now the Commonwealth will, now they're going to pick one of their light cruisers. I can't afford to lose convoy points anymore. So this is an 8. This is a Calypso. And they roll a 9, so he is only damaged. So he is damaged. We'll put him over here like that, indicate he is damaged. The fascists will sink another 3 convoy points. And the Commonwealth will pick the Cardiff. Hopefully he doesn't get sunk. Again, this is an 8. Roll the 7. He is sunk. He unfortunately got sunk. Now we got a damaged. We'll pick 3 American damaged convoys. And then there's 2 aborted. The Americans will abort 3 convoys. And then the last one is the fascists. They will abort the Argonaut. That's an 8. See if he gets aborted. Indeed he does. He will end up back in Halifax, I guess, aborted. Okay, so that's the end of that round. The damaged ships stay, and we see if there's another round. Well, the fascists rolled a 2, and the Democrats rolled a 4. So my highest box is 4, plus their die roll 4 is 8, 2, so that's going to be 6 surprise points. Not as good. Okay, I got to do some math. Be back in a second. Alright, I worked out the math. What we have is 25 sub-factors now with 10 subs and 11 ASW with 10 ships for the Commonwealth. With the 6 surprise points, I shifted down once on the ASW table. It gives us 1 sunk sub and 1 damaged sub, and shifted up twice on the sub-attack table. Gives us 3 sunk and 2 damaged. So first we'll do the subs. So that's 1 sunk and 1 damaged. Well, they want to get rid of something expensive, so they're going to go for the Type 9C40. That's a 7. That's a 7 for the fascists, for the Germans. They rolled a 10. He's only damaged. So I'll put him right here to be damaged. And then the aborted one, we will try to abort the Type 9C. That's an 8. I rolled a 6. He is aborted. He's going to go somewhere. He's going to go to the Milchow. Yeah, he is. Alright, so now we got the German attack. German-Italian attack. And we got 3 sunk and 2 damaged. So we'll take 3 convoy points. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3. Alright, and then the British, they'll take the Calypso. Let's see if they save him. He's a 9 now. Nope, he's sunk. And the last sunk will be 3 more convoy points. This convoy route got gutted. There's 2 there, and one of these makes 3. And that's 1, 2, 3, that's it. And the next one is damage. The Commonwealth will pick the dispatch for damage. It is damaged. That's going to be here. And the Germans will pick the dispatch again to be damaged. And it is sunk. It is sunk. Okay, so now we see if there's going to be another round. Commonwealth are thinking, well, maybe we should just abort and empty that convoy zone, but they don't really think they have enough to fill it. Yeah, we're going to keep going. We did sink a sub and damaged a really good sub got damaged. So it's going to be gone for 2 turns. Alright, let's see what happens. A 1 and a 6. That's going to be another round. A 1 and a 6. Alright, I'll come back with the numbers. Okay, so ran all the numbers. The democracies have 7 ASW with 5 ships remaining. The German Italians have 21 sub attack factors with 9 subs remaining. With the surprise points factored in, gonna shift the ASW column down 1. It's gonna be 1 sunk sub, and shift the ASW column down 2. It's gonna be 1 sunk sub, and shift the attack factor up 2. It's gonna be 3 sunk and 2 aborted for the Commonwealth. So let's do the 1 sub. They're going to go after the damage sub. Now that's an 8. So actually it's sunk. It's going to be sunk because it doesn't matter what I roll. It's sunk. It's one of their best subs. Okay, that's it for them. Now we got 3 sunk for the German Italians. They're going to take 3 convoy points. The British will pick the, whatever this is, York. Let's see if he saves. That's a 6. He rolled a 6. That's not a save. That's a sunk. That's a bloody in the Atlantic this turn. Now the Germans will pick 3 more convoy factors, tanker factors. There's 1 convoy point left. And that's it. Now there's 2 aborted. The 2 aborted will be, they'll pick the convoy point, and I'll pick one of the ships. So we'll just roll for the ship, whatever that one is. And he is not aborted. So the convoy point ends up getting aborted. And that's the end of that. And the Commonwealth will abort their ships because there's nothing left in the zone. So that's the end of that battle. That was horrific for the Commonwealth. They did sink some subs, and they did damage some subs, so it's not as bad as it seems. Alright, let's see if the fascists are going to end their turn. Let's see, it's 4. Takes a 4 to end the round. And I roll the 3, and that's it for the turn. I will come back with production in a few seconds. Okay, the partisans ended up being 1 partisan goes to India to add insult to injury to the Commonwealth. Okay, anyways, we have Germany producing 52 with the cadre. Started with 49, spent 55. That's what we got coming on. The Japanese produced 28, started with 22 and spent 21. That's what they got. Territorials and CAGs. The Italians, they produced 20 and spent 20. Finishing the carrier, some more subs, fighter, and HQ. The Soviets produced 38. There, by the way, there wasn't very much Lend-Lease. There was 1 point of Lend-Lease to the Commonwealth. That's it. So the Soviets produced 38 with their cadres, and started with 38 and spent 37. That's what they got coming on. That's this row right here. And for the Commonwealth is getting hammered. They produced 18. They got 1 from Lend-Lease. They started with 6 and they spent 24. They were trying to rebuild a little bit. And now the U.S. The U.S. produced 60, had 1 for Lend-Lease, which gave them 59, started with 40, and spent 46. 46, that's basically what they got. They are building a couple of amphibious units. The Chinese produced 3, started with 2, built a pilot and an anti-aircraft gun. And the Free French produced 1, started -8, and didn't build anything. So that does it about for this turn. It also wraps up 1942. 1943 has a number of gear-ups for both the democracies and the communists. So it should start to get really interesting. Generally, 43 is the year that things kind of tip over in the balance of the democracies and the communists, and the fascists start going downhill at that point. So, but we'll see. We'll see. The game is definitely taking a turn that's definitely different, especially over here on the Eastern Front. We still have a couple of German breakthroughs down in the Caucasus region. And the Soviets, though they're looking stable, they're not all that strong. And as you can tell, the Commonwealth has been getting hammered, literally hammered. They have a problem with the German subs. They're going to have to address that this year. So, in China, we'll go over and take a look at China real quick. China's kind of like a big giant stalemate at this point. Really, it's just a holding center for the Japanese army, so they can't really do much else. And the South Pacific is probably going to start heating up now. Got some Japanese down there, we got some Americans down there, the Commonwealth is down there. So things should start getting interesting. Okay, I'll get this turn uploaded soon, and thanks for watching, and I appreciate it.